Come on.
Let me tell you about the pig iron.
Are we recording now?
Sketching it with a background.
Are we recording now?
Yeah.
You didn't let me get to the best part. Is what we lived on West Virginia. The name of the street. When I was going to Sam Houston, and we went to Bethel Baptist Church on Tidwell. And there I met this guy that was, well, he didn't know I was alive.
You talking about Roger Raby?
No, not even. No, I met Jerry.
And I can never understand that. You know, I was born with this great big growth
Well,
on my
I guess
face,
you can clear something up for me.
and I had to cover it up just for this interview.
Why were you going to Bethel Baptist?
My mother was going to Bethel Baptist.
Okay.
That's a long story.
Oh, and this is in the aftermath of her divorce. Then.
Yes.
Yes.
She couldn't go to wherever it was.
Woodland Baptist kicked her out of there. The preacher asked her to quit teaching her class and everything, and she said, "Well, I'm not going here anymore." She came out to Bethel.
Yeah,
And Jerry came with her.
they took my father's side of that divorce. All the people in the church, or at least a lot of them did. And my dad was the one that was wrong. He was the one that was philandering around.
Philandering, yes.
Yeah, and he was a womanizer and did a lot of things. But finally they all found that out, and they apologized to Mother. And she ultimately went back to Woodland for a short period of time.
They didn't do anything until Brother Harold left, who Jerry's named after Brother Harold from Woodland Baptist.
Dick Harrell.
And Mother Mac his mother, she never liked that name, so she called him Jerry.
Well, that's Gerald. That's
Yeah. But
Jerry is short for Gerald.
He didn't know his name was Harold. When I met him, he had Jerry McRae on his driver's license. I said, "Jerry, your name's not even Jerry."
I didn't know my name was Harold Gerald McRae, even in junior high.
How did you get a license with not the right name
Jerry
on it?
McRae on it.
Yes, they
That
weren't.
was my name.
They didn't check stuff back then, did they?
I guess not.
Well, I went to all the school records had my name as Jerry McRae, and I took, as I've told you before, I got my license when I was 14. And that's because we took the driver ed class.
Was it a hardship?
No, took the driver ed course there at Hogg Junior High School, and they didn't make a big deal of it, but we literally could go out the next day if we wanted to and take the driver part of the test, and which I did almost the next day. It was about a week later.
You know, Dad, go ahead and tell the people what this thing actually is on your face.
Yeah, well, I had surgery yesterday, but I had yielded to my photographer son to do this interview, and this is basically a pressure bandage over some surgery to remove some skin cancers. It's one here, a big one, bad one, and it's a type of skin cancer that I'd never heard of before, but it's called squamous. It's a squamous carcinoma, and back here is a more popular type. They took actually 3 of them off in the back here. Those are basal-cell. Most people have heard of basal-cell cancers.
Yeah, basil, I use that when I cook.
Yeah. I guess that's made from the squeezings of these things. I don't know.
Could be.
God.
Anyway, that's what you're seeing here, and that's why you see me. I would normally wear glasses, and I can't put them on because I'm on a warfarin, it's a thin blood thinner, and they have to put a pressure on this to keep it from bleeding. Fortunately, I'm supposed to get rid of this tomorrow, so.
Well, I thought they had just amputated your ear.
It looked like it, didn't it?
He's got a thing on his ear that he's been scratching and it's bleeding. Anyway, at Bethel Baptist, I met Jerry McRae. He was just awesome to me. He got up and he could give his the devotionals in the Sunday school class, and he sang solos, and we both sang in the choir.
You both have such good, beautiful voices.
And
Well, not anymore, I don't.
I fell in love with him, and this lady, Bonnie Williams, she sang in a quartet with him. He sang with 2 girls, there were 2 girls and 2 boys. And Bonnie, this guy came to our church that His name was James Norris. And Bonnie, he asked Bonnie out on a date, and Bonnie said, well, I don't want to go out with him by myself because I don't know him. And she said, you want a double date? And I said, I guess, you know. So, she said, well, who would you like to go out? And I said, Jerry. And she said, oh, no problem. He's a pushover. So.
Big old pushover.
So we went out on a double date, and we went to a movie.
Uh-huh.
And Jerry came, and he had on a brown leather jacket.
Really?
Like a motorcycle jacket.
I think they call them bomber jackets, but still.
Yeah. Bomber jacket.
Really?
And we went to a movie. What did we see, Jerry?
We went and saw.
Gone with the Wind.
No, Fast and Furious. No. No, I can't remember what it was. It was something with. Yeah, it was kind of a
This should
romantic.
be
Thing.
1956, 57,
54 probably.
54. Y'all dated a long time before you got married. You didn't get married till 57.
Yeah,
Well, we were-
met in.
We were 18, I think, when we were dating.
Well, I think we met in. It was like December of '54,
Okay.
and anyway, you want me to tell you what we saw?
If we're going to find out, you're going to tell us.
It was Good Morning, Miss Dove.
Yeah, Good Morning, Miss
Good
Dove.
morning, Miss Dove. I've never heard of that. Who's in it?
It was Jennifer Jones
Jennifer
or something
Jones.
like that.
Okay. Google it.
Anyway, while we were watching the movie, he had his arm around me the whole time.
Oh, yeah.
And
Wearing his jacket.
Can I point out that I was so nervous? But
I was nervous.
there's been a lot of comic sticks where a man puts his arm around a girl, but he doesn't want to take it down for nothing. So his arm goes to sleep, you know. Well, I wasn't going to remove my arm for nothing.
That was you?
That was me. We got up, my arm was just swinging. It was absolutely dead.
Well, how did you brought me home? I think. And
on his motorcycle, obviously.
we
a
must
bomber
have
jacket.
taken them home because you brought me home by myself. I was
Yeah.
so scared. It was shaking. Never been on a date before in my life. First guy I ever went with.
Well,
Now, why is that? That's another good question.
Because my daddy was very strict on me.
Well, why did he let you go out with Jerry?
Well, I was
Well, wait a
18.
minute.
I was 17 years old by then.
I had never gone out on a date with anybody either. Okay?
Well, I know, but I'm just thinking, you know. You know.
He let me go, I guess, because it was a double date.
Okay.
He knew Bonnie.
Figured you were finally old enough you can go out on your own.
Well, he said I could go out when I was 16, but by that time the boys had lost interest, you know, of asking you. Well, of course, I moved away from Milano, where
Uh-huh.
I might have had a date, but I doubt it.
Well,
I didn't like anybody there.
Let me tell you just a little bit. I'm not going to tell you about the details of us dating or nothing, but I will tell you that I fell in love with her real early. But I got scared because I was in love with her. So I decided to date somebody else. And I broke off with Dot and went and dated a girl named Dorothy, just like her name, Dorothy, but it was Whitworth.
Mm-hmm.
I hope she never see this. Maybe she's already dead. But the fact is that she was kind of a stick. She didn't know how to kiss, but she fell in love with me, madly in love with me later. Also, she wrote a letter which I gave to Dot. But so I dropped her and I started dating Geraldine Robbins. And Geraldine Robbins was a good kisser, believe me. But I kept talking about Dorothy. Dot.
Yeah.
And so finally, one night, I brought her home. We went and ate out or something. And she said, you know, Jerry says, you really ought to make your mind up who you want to go out with. She says, because all you're talking about is Dorothy Brannon. And I said to her, you know what, you're right. I really should. And we said goodbye. That was the last I ever saw her, of Geraldine Robbins. She was a nice girl. Then I tried to get Dot back, and she was, I think, ticked off that I had not stayed with her.
Well, what about you, Mom? You, after after
I
he broke
started
up?
dating.
Well, did you actually break up? I mean, was there
Oh,
like
yeah.
a
Yeah, he said, we're going to break up, but I'm going to be here every day. Okay.
But not for you. I was coming for to eat with your
I'm gonna
mother's
eat-
cooking.
My mother's cooking.
Not really. But her mother was a good cook, I'll tell you that.
And so what did you do?
I started dating this guy from Milano, Lee.
You were living in Houston?
Yeah.
So
But
she
John and I went back up there quite often.
Uh-huh.
now you talk about a motorcycle guy. He was a motorcycle guy,
Yeah.
and she used to take Dot on the motorcycle.
No,
rides.
he didn't. I've never been on a motorcycle in my life.
And he was dashing. He
Was he
dated
dashing?
Dot, and he also dated Barbara Gilliland. That's Buck's wife. Of course, Buck's gone now. But Buck and I used to always get together and joke around about the fact that, well, wonder what old Lee boy is doing now. And Buck would just go on and on about
Because he
it.
had both your women?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And I wasn't jealous nothing. I was furious. I mean, I was so jealous of Lee Denman, you can't believe it.
Yeah.
And but once we finally got back together, I started asking Dot to marry me right off the bat,
Uh-huh.
and she kept saying no. But finally,
So when he came back, you just dropped Lee like a hot potato? So what kind of a time period are we talking about from, well, when you first got together and you went on this double date and then you dated for a little while, how long did that last?
not too long.
I graduated like in 56. And
Yeah, and I did not go to your.
yes, he did. He came and he brought Dorothy Whitworth. to
Well,
my
wait, we're
graduation.
talking about December of 54 when you had this date, right?
No. Oh,
That's what you
must have
said.
been 55.
Okay.
I'd have to get my diary out to tell you for sure. I
Well,
remember it,
It's a long
Christmas.
time ago. And
So you got together, you went on a date, and then you dated. You were steady dating for a little while.
Yeah.
How long was it?
not too long. I'd say 4 or 5 months, 6 months maybe.
And then after that much time, you broke it off with her.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
for a very
I
short
did.
time.
So then the intervening period when y'all were apart was just a short period.
What do you think, Dot? 3 months?
Yeah, something like
Okay.
that. Yes.
And anyway,
But then, see, you had the upper hand, but then you came crawling back to her, and now she's like, no,
believe me, I never had the upper hand. No, I never had. I was so in love with her.
You did when you came in with that bomber jacket.
Yeah.
Well, he'd asked me, I guess, 3 times over a course of time to marry him, and I just wasn't ready to get married because.
Was it the fact that I took you to this exciting romantic place? Was it Bar D that you finally said yes?
No, it was the Quentin Drive-In.
Y'all were up
something
at
like that.
Stewart's eating curly fries.
Well, believe me, there was a lot of eating done between Dot
I'm
and I.
telling you, we go to the movie. he
Dot,
took
Dot
me-
had this hourglass figure when I met her, and I kept taking her out and getting her all these Mexican meals.
We
and-
go to the drive-in and where you're supposed to make out and everything. Jerry was at the snack bar.
So was that your major pastime, going to see movies?
We saw a few movies, yes.
Yeah, movies. We mostly were at church.
Yeah. Okay.
We went to, was it the Bar D where I asked them if they had a cooler?
No, well, they had coolers
I
there.
said, where was
No, it was after we moved to Dallas, and we went to the Dairy Queen.
Yeah.
Or Dairy
it?
King.
And I asked them, I said, do you folks have a orange
coolers?"
cooler? And they said, what? An orange cooler? Well, no, but we've got a Michigan cooler.
Michigan.
Mission cooler.
Huh?
Was it Michigan?
Michigan, it was Michigan.
Okay.
That's a very well-known name in the walk-in cooler business. You know, that's where you keep all your milk and everything.
You thought you were asking for an ice cream, and they thought you were asking about their cooler.
Their cooler, exactly. And
So, no, but we got an igloo.
Dot and I
Yeah.
laughed about that for many
For
years.
years, we always, that's a private joke of ours.
So, I know that this was when you were still dating, I believe. You used to go out to Playland Park. Is that right?
Yes, got some. Matter of fact, we've got a photograph in our room in there that has that bomber jacket. Dot and I had a photograph made. We were in a jail.
In the jail, yes.
And I'm
We
telling
rode
you,
the roller coaster out
Now, what
there
what
over
was the
and
jail
over.
thing about? What was that?
That was just a thing you held up, and it looked like you were in jail.
Okay, so it was just a photo opportunity.
yeah.
it was
They
a facade thing.
charge $1 and they'll take
Yeah.
your picture and give you a print, something like
Yep.
that. Okay.
But they had a roller coaster out there, and it was not.
We rode that thing over.
It was not one of these going to kill you type of thing. It was a nice roller coaster.
No, none of them were like that back then. They were
But
friendly.
it was more fun than a barrel of monkeys. We rode that thing over and
Well, I think
over.
the one in Galveston was. I never even saw that
Yeah,
thing.
they
But
shut
it
the
was
one
a
in-
bad one.
Yeah, they shut the one in Galveston down because people got killed in that.
But that's the Playland Park. Is that also where they had races?
Right behind that
Oh.
area. Yes.
And
Is that where we used to go to
That's
the
exactly.
races?
you went
Right
to the
behind
races? Yeah.
We saw these stock
Was
car
that where
races.
Billy Wade was?
That's where Billy Wade was.
Billy Wade
And Billy Wade-
AJ Foyt, right?
No, I don't think so. Just Billy Wade.
Do you know Billy Wade?
Billy
No.
Wade. Billy Wade won every race. Didn't
It got to be
Didn't
a
he?
running joke of ours.
Yeah.
but-
Now
Oh, that
I
had to be Billy
thought
Wade.
that maybe you were just fooling, but I thought that you saw a young AJ Foyt racing it.
No, not that we know of. But we do know this, that A.J. Foyt raced at that racetrack.
Okay, but you didn't personally.
We'd go there on
Witnessing.
like Saturday night to the races.
And they were exciting, man. Boy, it was flat out racing. But inevitably,
It was
Billy
like
Wade.
a demolition derby.
Billy
too.
Wade would win. And then they always rounded up with a demolition derby.
Now was this a cross track where they would?
No, not the straight. They had a straight circle, oval, and then they had this open area where they got out there and did the demolition.
Well, I don't. I've seen it in movies, maybe I
It
guess,
was
where
dusty,
they would
dirty.
have a cross
Yeah,
track.
Yeah, well, that's later day stuff. This was very primitive. We're talking about what, 60 years ago? Yeah.
Well, this was I never saw it. This was before my
55,
time, so
yeah.
it would have been 60 years ago. I'm just saying this is something that did happen, but
Yeah.
not there apparently.
No, this was very cheap. I don't know what it cost, maybe $2 or $3 to get in and watch it. And the only place you could really spend money, and I did one time, was at one of the what was it, a ring toss?
Barters.
What was it though?
I
I don't know if it was a ring toss or what it was, but I was
Shooting darts or something. I
bound
don't
and determined that I was going to win her.
know. a big
yeah.
stuffed animal.
Now back then, $20 was a lot of money, and I think I lost either 20 or $30.
It was $25.
That's a week's pay.
Like $20, and we didn't get much money back then, and all we won was a little plastic candy dish.
Do you still have that candy?
No.
dish?
No, but I think they gave us that because of feeling sorry for us.
Yeah,
But we had fun. At
we
Playland
learned our
Park.
lesson.
That was such a simple place, but fun.
And
Now, right across the street from Playland Park, and a little closer to town, probably 5 or 6 blocks, was a place that had horses. They had what were they? Shetland
Little
ponies.
Shetland ponies.
Shetland ponies.
And their little
Didn't
buggy.
we take our kids out there?
Yes.
You have probably been to that when you were a baby.
Yep.
I don't remember it, but
But they'd lead these horses around. You let people ride on them.
I remember doing that. But it would have been later.
I have
Not-
pictures
not
of
there.
us. And I don't have them. But Aunt Lucille had pictures of us out there.
Well, there was a picture of me and Maxwell.
That was in a goat.
Yeah,
buggy.
we were in a little wagon, and there was a goat hooked up to it.
I've seen that photograph. Yes.
And they used to come around the neighborhoods and take your photographs right there in front of your yard.
Well, all right. Can you believe it's been another 20 minutes?
Wow. Let's look up Billy Wade.
We were just
Whatever
getting
happened to
started.
Billy Wade?
We were just getting started.
You know, look up Billy Wade, huh?
That's just been a running joke between us ever since we used to go out there, and if somebody driving a car fast come by with it, well, that was Billy Wade. Know it.